Uh-oh, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have not got off to a good start with the citizens of Colombia. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to another dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye, and oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we, because it looks like Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have angered the Colombian citizens. They've been called good-for-nothing celebrities and so much more. Now, special shout out and thanks to @Diana_ for actually collating and sharing some of the comments from the Colombian people and being able to translate it. So you see here, some of the comments, they are savage. So one saying, such stupid achievements of this government, bringing two ordinary American citizens. Now, for Megsy to be called ordinary, I mean... She would not like that. Mrs. Narcissist Extraordinaire would not like that one bit. We've got another one saying, and that visit would be more than just a tax expense. How would it benefit Colombia? Another one saying, such sissy achievements of this government, inviting a couple of parasites who don't even have a degree, wanting to spend money on nonsense just because this idiot saw them in a series of Netflix. Incredible. Well, them being called parasites by the Colombian people, inspired. Another one saying, they say this visit is so important. What is Meghan Markle's merit? Marrying a prince? I mean, I've always said, really, the only reason why now so many people know the existence of Meghan Markle is because of who she's banging. I mean, let's be real here, right? But the commenter also says, better tell us how much it cost us to bring this pair of good-for-nothing celebrities. Another one saying, but tell the Colombians how much they paid to bring this pair of freeloaders. Pure strategic smoke to divert the disastrous misgovernment at Petro Gustavo. How much does it cost to bring this pair? They earn millions of euros. So they've been called parasites. They've been called freeloaders. These Colombians are getting savage all over Megsy and Hazard. They are not happy. One of the trends that you see in terms of their comments is all about the cost it's taking for Megsy and Hazard to be there in the first place. And they're worried about the cost. Why? Because it's all coming out from the taxpayer, i.e. the Colombian people. They're not happy. We've got another one here. But what prince, if he renounced everything that has to do with the monarchy and looks at the nobody who criticises so much that blacks are humiliated and mistreated, and he bought two very white people 2 years, and that's the only thing he's done? Another one, how much tax money did they pay to that pair of good-for-nothing delusional geeks? Another one saying, I still don't understand how their visit benefits us. Will they invest in the country? Will they bring new technologies? Will they pay the ancestral debt? Finally, aren't these protocols supposed to be with this government? The inconsistency. The worst thing is that they don't even belong to the royal family anymore. A small clarification, he's no longer a prince, nor is she a duchess. Do not be ignorant. Two social resentful people who like to live off the misfortune of others and take advantage of family gossip. Another one saying, since they no longer belong to royalty, they charge for everything. Who paid for the visit? And then a final one, cheap populism and throwing money away to bring them here. And how do they help here? If the social problem continues, the unalivings, the people snatching, again, I've got to be careful for YouTube human reviewer, bear with me. Everything, we are in a very bad situation. And so you see a little bit of a running theme from these comments from the everyday Colombian people, right? And it's, who's paying for this? And there's an anger that it's the taxpayer. It's them that are paying for it. And they don't see why they should be because, again, they've called Hazard and Megsy freeloaders, parasites, that they don't even consider them being part of the royal family anymore. So why are the taxpayers paying for them in the first place? And so it really, 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 really flies in the face of all these Colombian people when they're paying for Megsy and Hazard to be there, right? And Megxit is flaunting her wealth in front of these poor Colombians. Oh, yeah. Just on her first day alone, she wore an eye-watering £72,000 worth of outfits. Most Colombians don't even see that in a lifetime, that amount of money. And this is the thing. Their security is being paid by the Colombian taxpayer. And so here saw saying that they'll be with the vice president and she has a lot of security because there have been attempts on her. But people are grumbling about why the Colombian taxpayer should pick up what will be huge security costs for what is essentially a PR exercise for Hazza and Megxit and for a government which desperately needs to deflect away from its failures. And this is the problem. Hazza and Megxit are just not reading the room whatsoever. Because the flaunting the wealth with Megxit wearing just on the first day alone over £70,000 worth of fashion, worth of clothing. And even though they're multi-millionaires and they could afford the security on their own, they're allowing the Colombian taxpayer to pay for their security. And more than allowing, they're welcoming it. They're like, yes, 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 yes. We'll be freeloaders and parasites. We'll take the Colombian taxpayer money and yes, we'll accept the Colombian taxpayer funded security. Oh yeah. Even though, let's be real here, their visit to Colombia is in a private capacity. They're not representing any government. They're not representing the royal family. So why would the taxpayer have to pay for their security in the first place? It makes zero sense. And this is the thing, right? This anger from the Colombian people as to why we're having to pay for them in the first place, why we're wasting all this money on nobodies as far as they're concerned. Well, this anger actually is well-founded. Why? Because Colombia is one of the poorest nations. So here we've got ColombiaReports.com giving us a few statistics in regards to Colombia's poverty situation. And so here, according to the Dane, this which is a statistics agency, almost 19 million people lived off of less than $97.94 per month. Yeah. And 13.8% of the population earned less than $49 per month in 2002. So you've got the poverty rate right here, which is at 33%, and the extreme poverty rate at 11.4%. So you've got a combined total there of a circa 45%. So nearly half of the population in Colombia is either at the poverty rate or at the extreme poverty rate. Yet she thinks it's the best idea in the whole wide world to flaunt her wealth when the majority of the people, I said majority, nearly half of the people, nearly half of the people in Colombia are either on the poverty rate or at the extreme poverty rate. This is insane. But let's go further. I'm going to give you more receipts here. Again, thanks to Colombia Reports for this. Undernourishment. So lowering poverty and income equality in Colombia are most visibly urgent when looking at the country's undernourishment rate. And so here, what percentage of the population is currently undernourished? 8.8% back in 2019. And this is the thing, right? Since 2015, it's been on an upward trend. So this was about 5 years ago. If this upward trend is to continue, you'd probably be looking over 10% now of the population in Colombia is undernourished. You're talking millions of people there, guys. Millions of people. Here, food deficiency. And so here it's all about the notion as to if you can actually put enough food on the table or not. And oh my goodness, the food deficiency is just increasing. Women in particular are suffering very, very bad in terms of trying to actually put food on the table. So in 2019, over 50%, so 51% of women had problems trying to put food on the table. 39% of men had problems trying to put food on the table. Here, then we've got housing. So people trying to find adequate housing for themselves and their family. And here, again, since 2016, when it comes to women, it's been on an upward trend. Nearly 50% of women are finding it difficult to find adequate housing. 38% men. And let's look at a final statistic here. So we've looked at food, we've looked at the poverty line, we've looked at housing. Let's look at money, guys. Income distribution. It gets even worse. So Colombia's extreme income inequality increased in 2018. The top 10% of the country's earners receive almost 40% of the country's income. 10 times what the bottom 20% earned, according to the World Bank. This is nuts. But then, after all of that, guys, after all those receipts showing the poor state of affairs when it comes to ordinary citizens of Colombia, they're still, through their tax, having to pay for these two freaking jokers, for their security and what else, right? No wonder all those comments I showed you earlier on had this running theme of, why the hell are we having to pay for them in the first place? What the deuce is going on? No wonder, because they're struggling themselves to find adequate housing, putting food on the table, earning money to begin with nearly half of them literally either on the poverty line or the extreme poverty line. And then you've got Megzy and Hazza traveling in Colombia with a 15-car convoy. Yeah, I wonder who's paying for that. As Meghan Markle is saying here, my good friend, if you're not subscribed to her on YouTube, get it done now. She definitely has a PhD in moon pumpology, guys. Saying that, yeah, they're traveling Colombia with a 15-car convoy. They're being guarded by armed military police. I'm sure Colombians are going to love the bill they'll be stuck with. Yeah, I'm sure too. Problem is, how are the Colombians actually going to pay for the tax bill when nearly 50% of them are at the poverty line or at the extreme poverty line? They don't have the money to pay for this. This is insane. When at the poverty line, they earn like $100, extreme poverty line less than 50. And this is the thing, at Sage 1411 has it right. Why would they need 15 cars? They're not heads of state. This is ridiculous. And this is going back to my point I made earlier on. Why are the Colombian taxpayers paying for these two jokers when they're not heads of state? They're not representing the royal family. They're not representing any government at all, foreign government. They are two private freaking individuals. Why are the Colombian taxpayers lumped with these two and having to pay for them? No wonder, going back to all these comments, the Colombian people are absolutely angry at Hazza and Megzy. And that visit would be more than just a tax expense. How would it benefit Colombia? Exactly. How are Meghan and Harry benefiting the everyday Colombian people? How can they justify taking the Colombian taxpayer money? How can they justify it? Because ordinary Colombians here are asking that question, and so many more. No freaking wonder the Colombian citizens are angry and pissed at Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and believe me, of course there's going to be more, you do not want to miss my next video, then make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe, because I'll be honest with you, help us now get to 1 million so we can also get that go play button right there and hopefully cause a Meghan Markle meltdown on Instagram. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also as well, if you've got some very strong opinions on the Colombians being angry at Meghan and Harry, do you think it's justified? Well, make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And until the next time, you guys, laters.